Okay, so this is a 2020 Chevrolet Equinox. It's got the 2-liter turbo engine and a 9-speed transmission, and I'm getting ready to change the transmission fluid in it. Hopefully, not for the first time. It's got 60,000 miles, and I have no idea what the previous owners might have done to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and change it right away. I just got this in the last week. Got the when I got the AC Delco Dexron. Thought about getting the Valvoline Max Life. Heard it's pretty good too, but I think for the first time, just gonna dump this in and see how bad the stuff in there is. If it's really, really bad, I might just run this for a couple months and do it again. Because man, you just never know. Seems to be shifting okay. I've never driven the 9-speed before. Seems to gear hop a little bit, but I understand that's pretty common nowadays for, they're always wanting to upshift to get the extra little bit of gas mileage. So anyway, um, gonna get to it. I'm getting ready to unscrew the drain plug and see what's in there. So let's get to it. Okay, so got the drain plug out. Seems to be a 7/16. Well, that was kind of odd. I shouldn't figure to be metric. So what's coming out? I can't see it good right now, but looks more like some pretty heavily used motor oil. So this definitely was ready to be changed. It is pretty dark black coming out. Transmission fluid, of course, should be um red. Not seeing any red really. So let it drain for give it a good 10-15 minutes. Should get most of it out. Get in and start the engine and cycle it through the gears real quick and see. Try and get everything out. Everything I've read, it's should get at about 5.5 quarts. Looks like we're getting pretty close to there now. It's a 7 quart drain pan. It's getting pretty full. And yeah, I know you can't really see it good in this video. But a little disappointing, but honestly not surprised. It's pretty rare for anybody to actually change transmission fluid. It's like an automatic. They just say, "Well, it's working, so why would I change it?" Yeah. Well, if you want it to last, a couple 100,000 miles, you better change it. Anyway, I'll let it drain and get back to it. All right, so it's drained a good 15 minutes, probably closer to 20. I didn't set a stopwatch or anything, timer. But gonna go ahead and slide under there and put the drain plug back in. Pull this pan out, get it in the light where I can see what it looks like. Probably gonna be even more disappointed. Oh, what's my rich under there? That gets me every time. I think, well, I'll just leave the wrench here where I can find it super easy. I go looking for it in my tool bag, thinking, oh yeah, surely I put it back up. That'd be the responsible thing. Now, I really should be using a torque wrench on this. Being a little lazy, I would not recommend this. It's not that hard to go on Google and find the torque spec, but when I took it off, it wasn't overly tight. Threads seem really good on it. There's no rust or anything around here. So it's gonna snug it up pretty good. Um, what I've seen so far, I'm gonna be changing this again in the near future anyway. Okay, there we go. Using a pretty short wrench. Pretty easy to not accidentally over tighten it. Oh boy. Wow. Got a bigger drain pan. I think I maybe should have used it. That's definitely filled it up. Might have got just a little extra out. Yeah, I believe so. When I got in and cycled the gears, I got just a little more out of the torque converter. Wow, this is some dark stuff. So take an empty oil jug here and carefully pour it in so I can take it to the take Vance Auto and take it in for some recycling. There's a downside doing this kind of work at home. And what do you do with all the old? Yeah. Anyway, I was a teenager, I just dump it in the yard, but it's not really a good idea. Oh boy. So hopefully I don't spill it and make a big mess. Already making a mess. Well, this is a 5-quart jug, so it's not going to hold it all. So I can get a little over half in this one and grab another empty. Wow. Not sure how good it's showing up on the camera right now. This is some... Ugh. Oh boy. It just looks yucky. Just looks black and dirty. Real dirty. Alright, better stop. Don't want to overfill that. Oh, there we go, here's another one. So I changed the motor oil yesterday. And yeah, it's full enough. Changed the motor oil yesterday. Really recommend anyone buying a used car. I don't care what the previous owner shows you, even if they've got some receipts. Just go ahead and change it yourself. Change everything yourself. That way you know it's done right. You get the right oil in, you get the right amounts in, and anybody selling the car, it's pretty easy for them to just say, oh yeah, just change the oil, change transmission. I did everything to this. It's a great deal. You should buy it. But nah, you just never know. And at the end of the day, it's going to be your car. It's going to be your daily driver. They're going to need to be reliable and get to work and everything. And you don't want to get hit with some surprise repair bills. It's best just to go ahead and spend the time and money to replace all these fluids. Get yourself a little notebook. Write down the date and the mileage. A little notebook, throw it in the glove compartment. And, pull out in the future and say, oh yeah, that's when I change the transmission fluid. And maybe I should do it again. Well, looking in the pan. Again, I don't know how good this is showing up on camera. It's really sunny here today. I don't see any grit in here whatsoever. It's pretty clean. So, take a guess. This has actually probably been changed before, because I've changed transmission fluid before in the past on other cars, and usually some grit in there. Sometimes a lot. I'm not seeing anything. Not sure why it's quite so dark, but actually looks pretty good. I was expecting, I saw it coming out that dark. I thought, oh boy, it's gonna look like mud in there or something. What is it's have a lot of clutches, friction clutches in the transmission. It's kind of slowly wear out, and that material, kind of metallic material, kind of build up, and yeah, then when you change it, it'll
It'll be gritty. It's been a long time, but wow, very, very impressed with this. I'm happy. I don't care what the fluid looks like. The bottom of the drain pan, there is no grit or anything. So cool. Hopefully this lasts me forever. Pretty clean vehicle. Very, very low rust underneath. I mean, it's a 2020, so shouldn't be rusty. But it was a previous rental. Got it from I got it from Enterprise Rental, and yeah, sometimes you can get lucky with these. Sometimes people just abuse the shit out of rental cars, and sometimes be a family wants to go across country, all highway driving on cruise control, and this one doesn't seem to be too abused. Interior's pretty nice and all, but well, all right, now comes the fun part. Got to put the new transmission fluid in, and unfortunately, there's no dipstick tube. Can't even check the fill level properly that way. But down here, there's a battery and I guess a main engine computer here. Man, way down here, I'm gonna try and zoom in. There is a black plastic cap down here. Yeah, can't really zoom in there good. This, the sun is really messing with everything. Got some bad shadows here. But I tried before on the glove on, so I'm not going to do it. I really recommend nitrile gloves. Go to Sam's Club or somewhere, get you a big box of nitrile gloves. So save you so much trouble, clean grease out your fingernails and crap. But I reached down there before, was able to get to it pretty easily. Just gonna need a long skinny funnel. Get down in there and man, why? Why couldn't we just have a old tube come up with a dipstick? I mean, what's the cost of that? Come on. Anyway, I'm gonna grab the funnel and take that cap off and get set up here and get some clean fluid in. All right, I got my gloves on now. Oh boy, it'd be easier if I could just unhook all this, but I really don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna. Thankfully, I don't have huge hands. Sneak my arm down here. Twisting the cap. It's not very tight. So it's plastic. Here we go. Oh, come on. Trying to drop it. And there we go. So, yeah, I don't know. I could have panned it orange color or something. First time I found it, I just had to peel around until I found it. You can't really even see it down there. So, set that off the side here. Nice and safe. And now it's time for a funnel that I just set out a minute ago. There we go. Okay. Funnel's been sitting around the garage, but I cleaned it out a little bit. Got all the dust out. Don't want to add any debris or anything into it. Oh man, it just barely wants to fit this way. Wow. I often think that the engineers that design some of these vehicles, they should be forced to service them. And maybe they'd go back to the design table and say, maybe we could change a few things. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it really kind of requires a extra long funnel. Wow. My funnel might not be too good after this. All right. So, wipe this one out a little bit, just in case there was any debris in it. One funnel into the other. Grab a new transmission fluid. Again, that's the. This is actually what's called for. So AC Delco Dexron 6 ATF. It's a full synthetic transmission fluid. And look at that. Look at that. I hope you can see it on the camera. It's a really nice light red, almost pink. That's what it should look like. Kind of reminds me of like strawberry Kool-Aid when I was a kid. Oh, I had to slow down a little. Little funnel wasn't dumping in fast enough. Now I've got some transmission fluid on top of the transmission. Well, hey, that'll keep the corrosion away, right? Didn't leak too much. I don't think it's going to get on the exhaust. Yeah, you don't want to spill this stuff on the exhaust pipe. You'll be gagging for the next hour or two as it burns off. Doesn't smell the best. Oh man, I really want to make some strawberry Kool-Aid now. This cherry, yeah. So it looks like cherry Kool-Aid. What came out looked more like a glass of Coca-Cola I've had sitting outside for about 6 years. That's about what that looked like. All right, so there's 5 quarts. So, a marking on the side of the jug here for the quarts. So, and doesn't go all the way up, so that's not going to help a lot. Anyway, I'm going to guesstimate. Again, I'm going to be doing this again pretty soon, so proper way would be to pull the driver's side front tire off, then the plastic mud shield, whatever you want to call them, the wheel well, and pull that to the side, and then there's a plug in the side of the transmission, and you pull that plug and you fill it up until it starts to leak out of the plug. That's how you know it's full, kind of like doing a differential. But it's such a pain in the butt to get to, and I can easily measure what I pulled out. So everything I read seems to be about right. Had about 5.5 in it, maybe closer to 6. So I'm gonna guesstimate this. Don't hate on me here. I'm gonna guesstimate that's about a half quart. That's terrible. Okay, there we go. I'm sure it's got a pressure blow off somewhere. If it's overfilled, it'll spray it out, but if it is overfilled, it's not by very much. Next time I do it, I'll probably wait. I'll probably give it about 2 or 3 months. Next time I do it, I'll pull the wheel off and do the proper fill procedure. Considered doing it this time, but I just had a feeling. I had a feeling I was going to find some pretty nasty fluid in there. Really want to change it a second time. Because what you drain out is only a part of what's in the transmission. An automatic transmission, there really is no easy way to drain the whole thing other than pulling the whole transmission out of the car and just assembling it. Because a torque converter holds a lot in there. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's the color of good clean transmission fluid. You wipe it on a paper towel, it should look pink. Should not look black. This is here, let's see. This is this is what came out. You look really close in the right light. I'm not seeing it here. If you look in the right light, you can almost see a slight tinge of pink in it, but not much. It's pretty gross. So yeah, hopefully next time I drain it, it's gonna look a lot more like this. Again, you know, it's gonna be mixing with the fluid I couldn't get out, so I don't expect miracles or anything. But after 2 times, it should be good enough. Probably let it go for another 30,000. I don't put a lot of miles on it, so maybe 20,000. Again, you know, I like this vehicle to last a while. It's a pretty clean vehicle. It's nice and optioned up. I'll just get the 2-liter turbo. To get the 2-liter turbo 9-speed transmission, you had to get the upscale. I don't think it was available. It might have been an available option actually. Well, I think it's standard on the Premier Edition, which is what this is. It gets you the heated seats and everything. Which, if you live up anywhere north in America, you're gonna want that in the wintertime. All right, got the cap back on. Screwed it pretty snug with my hand there. All right, so it's time to get in, start up. I'll probably drive it around for a little bit and see if I notice any less. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I don't think it was. I wouldn't call it stuttering. It really seemed more like gear. Like it just couldn't figure out which gear it wanted to be in. And I know quite a bit of that software nowadays because, you know, hey, we can thank the government for that. You know, oh, time for a government rant. Yeah, you know, the government says, well, you have to maintain certain miles per gallon for your entire fleet, or else, you know, you kill the environment. So they do little things like this, tweak the software so the transmission's constantly trying to stay in higher gears, so you can't hot rod around town. And this also unfortunately has the start stop technology. I think most of the newer Chevrolets have it now. Where you pull up to a stop sign, stop light, more than a second or two, and it actually shuts the entire engine off. And light turns green, take your foot off the brake, you know, you hear it start up again. And I can't possibly imagine that saving more than zero point 0.1 miles per gallon. You know, it really can't do much for the economy. It's for the fuel economy. It's obviously gonna put a lot of extra wear and tear on the starter and the battery. And of course, you know, if you run the air conditioning, that's kind of uncomfortable. It's not there is a pretty easy way to get around it. In case anybody does have an Equinox with that problem. I think most GM cars you can do this. Just get in, start up, shift it. Don't put it in drive. Go ahead and put it in the manual mode. One down, pass drive. I think it's got the L symbol, and just push the button on top of the shifter. Keep pressing the plus button until it goes up to the highest gear. On this one, it's 9. I'll show 9 on the dash, and really all it's doing, you don't have to manually shift it, but you're telling it, okay, this is the highest gear I want you to use, and take it on up to 9. It's going to drive the same as if you're in drive. But the start stop will be disabled. I've got some software coming. I ordered a performance software that I'm going to be doing a video on. Hopefully I get that next week and get that load up. It's supposed to really help with the transmission shifting. It's supposed to make it a lot more intelligent and adds a little extra horsepower and torque to it. This engine's actually not too bad. I've got a supercharged Regal GS. I was worried that going to this big heavy SUV was going to be frustrating because of the lack of power, but this thing's actually pretty peppy with a 2-liter turbo. It's somewhere around 250, 260 horsepower and torque. Much better than the base. I've rented the base Equinox before. I think it's a 1.5 liter, 1.4 liter turbo, and oh, it's a pooch. You do not want to drive that. It's okay for a long haul, but would not want to drive it around the city all the time. Yeah, I got some plans for this. Hopefully, get it fixed up, get it reliable, and drive the hell out of it for, I don't know, 100 years. Because I hate buying new cars. I hate buying new cars, having to do all this stuff over and over again, change all the fluids. Just want something reliable. Well, anyway, I guess that's it for now. I'll be back with update when I get my software.